5 seconds. I should have just done it last time. Here we go. Yeah, the trial. October 14th, 9:41 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 4. Hey, Nick! What is it this time? You won't believe how many people are here for the trial. Well, it is a murder case. No, this is not blind. I would put blind in the title if it were blind. What are you talking about? They're here for the trial next door. Next door? Why don't you know this, Nick? They're having Detective Atney's trial today. Detective Atney? They say they're going to try him as Mask to Mask. Already? That was fast. Boy, I'd love to see Mask to Mask's trial. I know. Huh? Even though it's not blind, I haven't played it in maybe 10 years. Maybe less than that. Probably less than that. By the way, where's Pearls? Oh, she went back home. She said she can't neglect her training anymore. I know you don't like me. What? Pearls has really gotten into her training lately, huh? Yeah, ever since that incident last year. Please don't ignore me! Oh, Mr. Delight, good morning. No one likes me. No one would notice me even if I killed someone. Come on, don't be silly. Wait a sec. You don't mean... You're the murderer! No, 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 no! I'm just a poor thief! No, wait, that's not right. A thief can't really be... Now let's see, according to Mr. Delight, from his second crime on, he was following a bunch of set plans. Plans that someone had been sending to him to help him commit the heists. I'm glad it's doing this for me because I had totally forgotten about this. Do you think there's a connection between the thief and the murderer, Nick? It's possible, but today's trial is a race against the clock. Huh? How come? Well, let's just take our time like always. I'm afraid that's not an option. October 14th, 10 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 6. Oh, and hey, Shot, sorry, I was talking to my son the whole time. I usually don't look at the chat very often between streams. How are you doing? And I guess you're making that comment in regards to what I said. This is the weirdest farce, guy. Is it on the DS now? That's funny. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Ron Delight. The defense is ready, Your Honor. You're ready? Preparation is the last refuge of the weak. What? Okay, settle down, everyone. Let's begin your opening statement, Mr. Godo. Ah, he's got the judge in the palm of his hands yet again. Ron Delight is simply too young to be sent to war. That's all. I'm afraid I have no idea what that means, Mr. Godo. Ha! Then you need to get out more, Your Honor. Life is war, but that is exactly why you must be more precise in your wording. That's all my statement means. You understand now, right? Yes, well then, let me briefly summarize the details of this case. The details. Wow, the judge is taking charge like he knows what's going on for a change. The victim is Kane Bullard. Bullard? It's something. CEO of KB Security. His body was found in his safe at approximately 9 a.m. on the morning of the 13th. However, the time of death was estimated as 1 a.m. of the previous day. And that's when our little lost kitten dropped the ball. And that little lost kitten is, of course, the defendant. I'm doing alright. Better than yesterday, I guess. Very well then, Mr. Goto, please call your first witness. I never drink more than 17 cups of coffee during any given trial? What? I'd hate to smell this guy's breath. But the first one is always the best. Mr. Goto, your witness? Okay then, let's hear what the defendant, Mr. Ron Delight, has to say for himself. The defendant? Well, Mr. Wright, does the defense have any objections? It may be a bit of a disadvantage having the defendant testify, but 18 and he'd be having a problem. Or he'd have a problem. Let's see, I remember when Mia was defending me. She allowed me to testify so she could do the cross-examination. She put a lot of trust in me back then. Although you were a nut job. We have no objections, Your Honor. The defense will allow Mr. Delight to testify. Ha! You got guts, trite. Alright then, Mr. Ron Delight, please take the stand. You did it, didn't you? Is that all you had to ask? Yes. What? No, that's not true. I think I went a little overboard. Oh, my tongue tickles now. For a moment there, I thought we'd set the record for the shortest trial ever. Well, Mr. Delight already looks plenty guilty with that face he's making. And once he opens his big mouth, he'll probably put the last nail in his own coffin. Ha! Very well. Now then, can you tell me something? If you didn't kill Bullard, why did you go to KB Security? Well, that's kind of hard to say. Boy, I wish I could go home. Now then, let's hear some testimony about what happened. I want cinnamon buns every time I look at this guy. My visit to KB Security. That evening around 1 a.m., I went to see Mr. Bullard in his office at KB Security. The blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. I'd been working for KB Security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was. 1 a.m., the exact time the murder took place. The weak get washed away by the tides of fate. The strong drink up. Ha! It's bitter today too, just like my destiny. You never know that from the way he's chugging it down. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. My visit to KB Security. Well, this is pretty short. I went to see Mr. Bullard in his office. 1 a.m., huh? You're absolutely sure about that? Yes, that's what my watch said when I was entering the CEO's office. No. Actually, I'm not really sure. My watch was slow and my internal clock was also bad. 1 a.m. That's the exact time the victim, Mr. Bullard, was murdered, correct? It's too late for a coffee date, that's for sure. Nuh-uh. Coffee at 1 a.m. is the best time for coffee. Ordered me to go there. It ordered you there? It was the first time I'd gotten a blackmail letter that ordered me to go somewhere. Does that mean you've gotten other blackmail letters then? Oh, of course. They'd say things like, steal this or take that. Why don't you save those for later, Mr. Delight? Please don't say any more. Now, what should I do? Well, let's press harder. Press it harder, Phoenix! So what did the blackmail letter in question say? It said to bring $50,000. Money, a perfect motive for committing murder. Oh, but wait! Wait! I never intended to pay that money anyway. Oh, is that right? After all, he had nothing to hold over my head. I had nothing to be afraid of. An important point indeed. Witness, let's have that added to your testimony. Yes, sir. Ha! A muddy mud skipper in outer space has a better chance of surviving than I do. Okay, the blackmail thread didn't scare me. Thread? I think it's supposed to say threat. It wasn't going to cause me trouble or anything. Just what were you being blackmailed about, anyway? The blackmail letter said if you don't want your identity revealed, correct? I'm sure it was referring to the whole mask-to-mask thing. But I wasn't worried. Mr. Bullard didn't have anything on me. He didn't? Anyway, I don't care what anyone says about me. Just as long as Desi believes in me. Aww. So that's why Miss Delight didn't believe he was mask-to-mask. That's why I knew they were just hollow threats. You used to be a security chief for KB Security, right? Yes, that's right. A security chief? You? And yet, a year ago, you were fired without notice. Revenge for an old grudge? A perfect motive for murder, wouldn't you say? This isn't good. Maybe I should change the subject. Why was he fired? Say anything. I would like to know why he was fired. Mr. Delight, please tell us why you were fired from your job. Well, the world is filled with those who have said, I wish I had never asked that. Okay, then I take it back. Defendant, please answer the question. Well, I needed money. You needed money? Well, you see, Desi loves to spend it. It's kind of her hobby. Not exactly the best hobby in the world, huh, Nick? My salary wasn't nearly enough. So, I stole data from the company? Come again? KBS Security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies. And since I was a security team chief, you stole some data and sold it. Mr. Bullard found out and I was fired immediately. What? I wish I had never asked that. I was somehow able to keep it secret and made it seem like I had quit on my own. What is it, Nick? You don't look so good. Someone who brings harm to their company is fired as punishment. You do well to remember that. He sure told you. So you admit that you stole data from the company, is that correct? Yes. I'm sorry. This is a very important fact. Please add it to your testimony. Oh man, this whole thing just took a big turn for the worse. Didn't it took a turn for the worst? I don't know. Crashed and blew up. It's gonna take the jaws of life to rip this case from the clutches of disaster. Why would you do something like that? Well, for Desi's hobby, what else? Wasting money, huh? It's not a waste! So Miss Delight doesn't know that her husband was fired, does she? Is she in the audience? So it would seem. I'm not sure what to think about couples who keep secrets like that from each other. I can't believe it. This case has gotten even Maya to think seriously about couples. Please try to stay focused, Mr. Wright. There wasn't much to his testimony, was there? Sounds like he's avoiding something. At least, that's what it sounds like to me. Uh-oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. We better be careful. But if we don't find a way to make him spill the beans, we'll never get closer to the truth. Yeah. Oh god. What have I got? No, we don't need that. It doesn't look like it's gonna be a penalty if I throw stuff out. Oh, never mind. No! Must be on the wrong track. Okay. Let's see, what else have I got? Buzzer? No, we don't need that. Look at the autopsy. Where's the autopsy report? Was that what I was looking for? There was something I wanted to look at. Oh, I wanted to look at this, I guess? I don't remember what to do. Wait, red diamond? It doesn't make sense. Damn it. Oh, I meant to save before doing that, but... Wow, I have no idea what to do. Arg! I don't think that won me any points with the judge. Here come the judge. Let's see. Blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. Can I press this again and choose the other option? It must be this! There's something fishy about him claiming to know his identity when he was receiving letters to begin with. He obviously knew his identity to begin with. Let me look at the letter again. Oh, it's just he was gonna reveal it. Go ahead and save it real quick. I have no idea what to do. What about with Desi? What sucks is I can show portraits as well. I don't have to show evidence. I knew where his office was. He fired me for selling company secrets, but Desi doesn't know about that. Should I show her now, or...? I have no idea.
Objection!
Nope. Red diamond? Let me look at the... What red diamond? I think the portrait. The tear of Emanon was blue. But I mean, there's nowhere in here to bring that up. I just happen to notice it says red. In the note. Whoops. No. Take that red diamond you received the other day. It's blue. I don't know if it has anything to do with it anyway. Trouble or anything. I want to say it's whatever it is we're going for. It's this one. Did I already touch this here? got up early. Did I do this? It didn't work. Well, let me make sure. Okay, yeah. Maybe I show them the newspaper. It's either you see it's blue and not red.
Objection!
I have no idea what to do. We're just gonna load. Okay, F6. I'll just keep pressing F6. I can't imagine what. What else would work?
Objection!
Why would you do something well for this hobby? It's not a waste. Was there somewhere else that had an option? His watch was slow. I think my cat just made the scariest noise I've ever freaking heard. It scared the hell out of me. No tragedy revealed, right? She was referring to the whole mess.
Objection!
Oh wait, what? Tisk tisk, I'm afraid that reason isn't going to hold up anymore. Oh, okay, so I really just had to press him again on something I already pressed him on? What do you mean? The victim had no proof the defendant was masked to mask. But you were the one who stole company secrets only 1 year earlier. But that was all over with once I was fired. But it is true that the fact I stole secrets was kept under wraps. My cat is making this weird fucking noise. I'm gonna go check on her. And then move her into another room. Can you hear it? I sure as hell hope it's the cat. Anyway, I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that. Oh man, she was making a scary noise. She kind of sounded like an owl or something. Some kind of like deep noise that she was making. Oh, it was scary. I've never heard her make that noise before. And then when I went to go look at her, she went under my bed, so I had to get her out. Anyways, it is true that the fact I stole secrets was kept under wraps. Even so, there was no reason for me to pay up now, a whole year later. Is that really true? What is it, Nick? The fact that Ron was stealing company data, I wonder if he would have had a problem if that ever became public knowledge. Yes, he would. Mr. Delight, I believe you would have been in considerable trouble if your identity as a company data thief was made public. Irk! Mr. Wright! What are you trying to do by bullying your own client? Ha! Men are like colonies of bacteria. The more heat you apply, the faster they grow. What does that mean? That's exactly right. Well then, feel free to keep up the heat, my little lawyer amigo. Little lawyer amigo? Yes. Now come on, provide some evidence to back up your assertion. Why would Mr. Delight want to keep his data stealing secret from going public? Because his wife detests criminals! But we're gonna go ahead and say it because I don't know for sure. Mr. Delight, what you said just now doesn't match what you told me yesterday. Huh? What doesn't? I think you must have been scared, very scared, of having a certain person find out your secret. Gulp! A certain person? Ms. Desiree Delight. Why do they call her Ms. If they're married, it's Mrs. M.R.S. The defendant's wife. His wife. Well, but listen to me, my Desi. She's... Looks like if I just sit back and relax, the fun will end before it truly begins. Grrr, Godo. Yes, we know. It was all your wife's fault. What do you mean? Mr. Delight stole company data to pay for his wife's spending habit, for which he was fired. Unable to face his own wife, someone used his dirty little secret to blackmail him. And that is how this murder came about. Oh. No! Everything is falling neatly into place for him. Don't talk about my Desi like that, or you'll be sorry! Well, it seems that we've learned a great deal of things here so far. What do you think, Nick? I don't think it was possible to get so thoroughly whipped in just 20 minutes. Clearly there was sufficient motive for murder. He stole data for his wife, and he killed to protect his secret. A family man who cared just a little too much. The motive is clear. Let's move on. What happened at the crime scene at 1 in the morning, Mr. Delight? Come now, tell us! We're all ears. Alright, it must have been the cat, because I don't hear that noise anymore. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. When I came to, Mr. Bullard was laying there, dead. I see. Suddenly hit on the forehead, huh? I believe the detective from yesterday provided similar testimony. He said that Mask the Mask struck him on the head from behind. But on the forehead? Of course, since Atme turned out to be the culprit himself, that was all a lie. Ha! No one's going to believe a pathetic lie like that. What are you saying? I really was attacked! We'll find out if what you say is true or not during the We'll find out if what you say is true or not during the cross-examination. Got that, Mr. Trite? Don't go easy just because he's your client. If I see any sign that you are, I'll treat you to another cup of my special blend. You don't need to worry about that, Mr. Godot. I have faith in Ron. I know he didn't do it. At the CEO's office. Right, when I enter the office, there's a suspicious shadow. Who was this suspicious shadow? If there was 1,000 of me, and if even one knew, I'd tell you, trust me. His dodging all of our questions is not helping us win his case. Okay then, how was the victim Mr. Bullard at that time? What do you mean by how was he? Was he already dead? Was he still alive? Maybe he was the one who hit you in the first place. That's a good question. What do you think, Mr. Wright? I almost said trite. Forget it. Let's see, something was hit on the head. Your forehead? Yes, I was hit on the forehead as soon as I entered the room. It was an amazingly fast and powerful attack. Do you remember anything about who hit you? Well, like I said, it was a fast and powerful hit. So I think I was a little dazed for a while. I don't think Mr. Delight even grasped what you were asking. Yeah, I'd like to show him a fast and powerful attack myself. Maybe that would knock some sense back into him. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. Wearing what? That? Could you please clarify what you were referring to? Why, my Mask the Mask costume, of course! Wait, just a moment. Mask the Mask? Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? Just to be on the safe side, I dressed as Mask the Mask! And then I descended upon the office of the CEO of KB Security. What? Nick! Did you know about this? He never told me this. I don't recall him ever mentioning it to me either. Even I didn't know that. It seems our little friend really loves to keep secrets. I'm sorry. I just never had a chance to mention it up until now. Wait. That's not right. You know something? Sometimes things just slip your mind. Ha! My 6th cup of coffee is staring up at me coldly. Oh man, I wish I could have 6 cups of coffee. At any rate, we can't ignore this new piece of information. Witness! Please correct your testimony. I'd have been killed if I hadn't been wearing my Mask to Mask costume. Why were you dressed up as Mask to Mask? Why, because I'm Mask to Mask, of course. Whoa, what are you talking about? What you talking about, Ron? Mask to Mask's trial is being held next door. Ah, yes, I guess so. Anyway, at that time, I thought I was being blackmailed over the Mask to Mask issue. So I thought I should go as him just to be safe. Oh boy. Let me tell you, it's a real pain to move around with that cape. That's why it took a lot longer than I'd expected. Took a lot longer? What is he talking about? Wait and see. Let's wait and see. I think I'll wait and see how this develops. Why aren't you doing anything? Because it'll probably end up causing more trouble. I'll tackle it once I'm mentally prepared. I guess I should prepare myself for the worst, too. No, you know what? I want to hear about it. What do you mean by took a lot longer? Oh, opening the safe, of course. Oh god. My cape got caught on the safe door, you see. This all happened when I was hiding Mr. Bullard's body. Whoa, 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 what was that? Back up a second. Yes? You were the one that hid the body in the safe? Well, yeah. Inconceivable! Why did it have all else? Why? Just why? What reason could you have? What were you thinking? Question. When does someone toss their dirty shorts in the washing machine? What? The answer is simple. When they commit murder! When they take them off. As usual, I have no idea what you're saying. Do you mean that Mr. Delight hid the body because he's the murderer? Ha! So you're not as stupid as you look. His metaphor this time was really obscure. Mr. Wright, you don't mean that you knew about this whole safe business, do you? Well... yes. Why am I the only one not in the loop here? Witness! Make sure you add this to the testimony. Yes, sir. Uh-oh. Looks like a storm front is moving in over the fair weather judge. I panicked and hid the body in the safe. It took about 10 minutes. Why did you hide the body in the safe anyway? Well, because it wouldn't fit in a drawer. That's not exactly what I meant. When I saw that corpse, I kind of lost it. I thought, if they find his corpse, they'll think I did it. Ha! I think you had a simpler reason than that. It's because you killed him! That's why you spent 10 minutes hiding the body. That certainly makes more sense. Hold on. 10 minutes? What is it, Nick? I just had a thought. Under those circumstances, would you normally try to hide the body? And spend 10 whole minutes to do it? Under those circumstances? What circumstances? Oh! Hey, Nick, do you think his behavior was so strange? Why don't you present some evidence that would show just what the circumstances were? That's it. I'll take a look at the court record and present some evidence. I haven't a clue what they're talking about! We heard this from Mr. Delight yesterday, didn't we? There's not much in this testimony either. I bet you he's still hiding something. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll just have to draw it out of him. I just hope he doesn't make things any more complicated. What were they talking about? They've kind of given it away that we do something here. But what? I haven't a clue. Why would it take him 10 minutes to hide the body? don't know. Why would it take him 10 minutes? Oops. I have no idea.
Objection!
Oh, okay. Your Honor, could you please take a look at this record? And what might this be? The record for the emergency buzzer that connects the CEO's office to security. If the button in the office is pressed, a security team is supposed to come running. And according to this record, the buzzer was pushed once at 1:02 a.m. Well, what? If Mr. Rondelite truly was the murderer, he would have ran as soon as that buzzer sounded. After all, the security guard would have been heading his way.
Objection!
Ha! Let's remember who we're dealing with here. He probably had no idea there were security personnel in the building. Up until 1 year ago, my client was working as chief of security. There's no way he wouldn't have known about them.
Objection!
But as it turns out, the guard never came. That was nothing more than a coincidence. The fact that the guard was a pathetic loser who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend and wasn't anywhere in the vicinity was not something Mr. Delight could have known.
Objection!
Ha! Again, remember who we're dealing with here. It's a sure bet that Mr. Delight didn't even notice the buzzer going off.
Objection!
This buzzer's extremely loud. There's no way he could have ignored something like that. If he had been conscious, that is. Conscious? What do you mean by that? Ugh! Fine. Let's hear your theory. Remember the defendant's testimony. The moment he entered the victim's office, someone attacked him. Mr. Delight said he felt dazed. I'm willing to wager that he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes. Unconscious? So he fainted? That's why Mr. Delight didn't know about the buzzer and didn't know that the buzzer had sounded. And that's why he thought he had time to hide the body. So, what are you trying to say? Mr. Delight was knocked out, and the buzzer went off soon afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, it can only mean that there was another person in that room. That's right. Whoever it was knocked out Ron Delight and then pressed the buzzer. Order in the court! Mr. Wright, this is...
Objection!
This is preposterous! It was this kid. Ron Delight is the one who killed Kane Bullard. Then who pressed the buzzer? It was... the victim, of course. He pressed the buzzer when the defendant attacked him. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push that button. Hey, Mr. K, how are you doing? It's been a while. Hope you're doing okay. Hold on, I'm opening my other water. So Kane Bullard sounded the buzzer himself. What's your opinion on this, Mr. Wright? I need to prove that the real criminal was there at the scene. But how? Can I prove that it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer? You got deported? What about your wife? I hope everything's okay. Let's see. Can I prove it? I know there were no fingerprints, but do I know if what's-his-face had gloves on? We're gonna save it. She's still there until October. Man, that's a long time. That sucks. Prove it, we can prove it. The defense's opinion is this, Your Honor. This piece of evidence proves that it wasn't the victim who sounded the buzzer. I think it's this, there's no fingerprints. I believe this is the piece of incontrovertible evidence you're looking for. The emergency buzzer? Is there some kind of clue on it? You broke your nose? Oh man. That sucks. How did that happen? Let's see, is there some kind of clue on it? Absolutely not. Hey, come on now. At least give some thought to what you say before opening your mouth. The fact that there are absolutely no clues is itself the clue. Now, I'm the one who's clueless. This button has no fingerprints on it. If Mr. Bullard had really pressed it himself, naturally, he would have left his fingerprints behind. What? Ron Delight obviously wiped them off! Why would he? A guard could have come in at any moment. He touched that button! I know he did it! The defendant, Mr. Delight, was dressed as Mask to Mask. You wrecked your motorcycle? Oh no. Well, I'm glad your sister's okay. And I'm glad you're alive. Motorcycles scare me. I buried a guy that died on a motorcycle once. His left leg, like his calf was like in two. I had to sew his leg back on. And the cuts on him were so deep that it looked like he had been shot with like BBs. BBs that penetrated his skin all over. Ugh. I don't even want to think about his face. Anyway. You're very lucky. I'm glad you're alright. And I'm glad your sister's okay. He was dressed as Mask to Mask, and Mask to Mask always wears gloves. What reason could he possibly have had to wipe the button free of fingerprints? Oh no. I'm really sorry, Mr. K. It really sucks. I don't like motorcycles. I'll never ride a motorcycle. Order! 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 Ha! It would seem I've been forced to eat crow. I wonder what blend number crow flavored coffee is. 666. However, if the real killer was there at the scene, why would that person press the emergency buzzer? Shouldn't they have run away without putting themselves in extra danger? What's with this awkward silence all of a sudden? Ha! It looks like you're fresh out of parlor tricks. They're on to you, Nick. Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. The real culprit killed Mr. Bullard around 1 a.m. Your wife hates that you own one, and now that you've had your worst wreck on it ever, she's making me get rid of it. Aww. I'm sorry you had to get rid of it, but you never know. It could be for the best. Let's let's see. What are you? And Mr. Delight just happened to waltz in on the murder when the murder was taking place, right? The killer clobbered Mr. Delight and then sounded the buzzer. Even though security was supposed to respond right away if the buzzer was pressed. Security was supposed to respond? What's on tap after this? I don't know. I wanted to do, oh, what game was it that I was gonna play? I forgot. My son and I are gonna test out if my Elgato will stream, the Switch. So maybe I'll do something on the Switch next. I don't really have that many games. I have Mario Kart, Snipper Clips, Breath of the Wild, Puyo Puyo Tetris. What else do I have? I want to say there's one more. Bomberman? Bomberman. Time's up, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you have to say. Very well then. Oh ho, you got some guts! I like that in an opponent. Why did the real killer sound the emergency buzzer? Do I need you to call the security? Find out what it did? I want to say they found out what it did. I guess I could play Zelda. I've been wanting to replay it ever since I finished playing it. Let's see. Find out what it did. In all probability, the killer didn't know what the button was for. What do you mean? The killer probably thought, I wonder what this does, and pressed it to find out. Oh, that's exactly how I make a lot of my mistakes, too.
Objection.
Ha! Is there a functioning brain underneath all that ridiculous hair, Mr. Trite? Huh? The panel around the button is labeled quite clearly. It says, Emergency Buzzer. Dope! Let me guess. Maybe next time you'll want to claim this mysterious killer was illiterate. Mouse cat just hit you in the face, right across the nose. Oh no! I remember when I got my first tattoo, and it was it's a full back tattoo. And my son thought it was a bug or something. I don't know, that's what he told me later. But he was like 3 or 4 years old. He jumped on my back, like the next day after I had it done. And I was crying. Call the security guard. The killer knew that if they pressed that button, a guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted. Do you mean to say that the killer called the guard on purpose? Yes. Although, as it turned out, he never showed up. Because he was getting his clock cleaned at the time. Ha! What a touching story. You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in? No, I'm not. When that buzzer sounded, there were 3 people in that office. The victim, Kane Bullard, who was already dead. The defendant, Ron Delight, who is out cold. And the 3rd person, the real killer. You had your tattoo removed? Is it painful to have it removed? I've always wondered. I don't want to remove my tattoos, but I've always been curious. Hypothetically, yes. Now then, in this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only ones left in the room would be the victim and Ron Delight. And if any security guards came running in at that time, they would think that I was the murderer! Yes! That was precisely the real killer's objective. To frame Ron Delight for the murder. Order! 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 would seem I've been made to eat my words once again. See, ever had a rubber band snapped against your skin? Imagine that feeling about 3 times. Ooh. That sounds worse than the tattoo itself. Actually, you've been made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee. Mr. Wright! Who was it? Who was it that tried to frame me? Wait. Wait a second. I'm the one and only masked to mask, so... Nick! You mean the real killer is... We're going to drag that person in here right now! But, who is it? I don't have any solid proof yet, but think about it. The killer knew Mr. Delight's identity. And they also knew that he had been called to KB security that night. So the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan to murder Kane Bullard. Oh god, it cost you that much? Well, I'm glad I don't want them removed. I had one of my friends at work at the time, her husband was a tattoo artist, and I just went over to their house and I just played on their Xbox while he tattooed my back. I don't know, it took like a whole week, like 3 or 4 hours a day, and then it took a whole week. It was pretty cool, and I only had to pay $100, but I paid them about $150 because the whole reason I was getting the tattoo is because I knew they were having a hard time with money. So I gave them quite a bit extra. Now then, let's hear your accusation, Mr. Wright. And they were nice enough to have it so cheap. Let's see, who was it that framed Mr. Ron Delight for the murder of Kane Bullard? Let's see, I'm gonna save it because I don't know what's gonna happen. But I believe it's Luke at me.
Take that!
Detective Luke at me. He is the only one who could have done it. Ace Detective Luke at me. You mean Mask to Mask did it? Your Honor, the person being tried in the court next to us is not Mask to Mask at all. He is, in actuality, the true murderer of Kane Bullard. Order! Order! Mr. Wright! Explain yourself! You got some splaining to do! Theft and murder. Which is the more serious crime? They're not even close. Murder is the more serious crime, of course. It's a capital crime subject to a capital punishment. Please remember the trial from yesterday if you would. When Luke at me confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom. Of course, a famous detective was unmasked as well as Mask to Mask. Instead of being convicted of murder, he was found guilty of grand larceny. That was his true objective all along, to be found guilty. Mask to Mask had the perfect alibi for when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lordly Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Mask to Mask was Luke Atney's airtight, watertight, and unassailable alibi. A guilty verdict. As an alibi? You know, it's almost time. For what? For Luke Atney's verdict. It was a pretty simple trial after all. How does he know? It's going on right now. He's such a weirdo. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course. That's assuming you have proof that the detective was the one who committed the murder. Mr. Luke Atney's trial has indeed attracted the attention of the entire country. if we were to intrude and failed to provide adequate proof of his true crime, Mr. Delight would be left with no grounds for appeal. Am I really sure about this? Ha! A bet's only good when your life's the ante. Mr. Wright, I believe in you. Mr. Delight. So please, I'm begging you! Thanks, but my decision will determine the rest of your life. Can I really risk your life like this? Phoenix! Whoa, what was that? Don't stray, Phoenix. For your client, take the path of trust. Why does she always have to remind him of this? That voice. It sounded like... Nia! Your Honor, the defense requests an immediate recess. Ha! So that's your answer, huh? Very well. I've decided as well. This court will now take a 20-minute recess. Mr. Wright, when we return, please summon Mr. Luke Atby to the stand. Yes, Your Honor. You got your tattoo when you were 18. You were drunk with friends. You're the only one to go through with it, and it's illegal to tattoo a drunk person in most states. Well, that's crazy. You're the only one to go through with it? It doesn't hurt. I got a full back tattoo all the way down my spine and everything. And it never really hurt that I can remember. Not so much that it made me flinch or, you know, tear up or anything. October 14th, 11:58 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 5. Oh, we're going into there. Mr. Payne. Well, Sir Detective Atby. I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly. Oh no, Sir Detective Atby, you were the one who... Oh, this other judge, I always forget about him. Blood like crazy because of the alcohol? That's enough! This court sees no reason to further prolong this trial. This court finds the defendant Luke Atby.
Hold it!
Hold it! Wait! Don't hand down your verdict yet, please! Well, well, Sir Lawyer. Welcome to my courtroom. Who's this hoser, eh? My name is Phoenix Wright, attorney at law, and I wish to file an accusation against this man, Luke Atby. Accusation? You accuse Mask to Mask? That man is not Mask to Mask. He's just a ruthless murderer! What? I think I bled too, but I mean, I couldn't see it. But I don't think it was bad. I'm sure he would have told me if I was bleeding more than usual. How am I supposed to remember that one? October 14th, 12:14 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 4. My sis? I could have sworn I heard Mia's voice. So then she's still alive, inside your heart. Nicky boy! Oh, Ms. Delight. Is it true that detective is the real killer? To be honest, we don't have any definite proof. But he's the only one who could have done it. But wasn't he at Lordly Taylor that night? The more you drink, the less likely you are to clot. Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Not to mention, we don't exactly know his motive. I mean, why would Detective Atby want to kill Kane Bullard? Oops, it's almost time. Better get back to the courtroom. I need to find some solid proof. And it's gotta happen sooner rather than later. October 14th, 12:21 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 6. It's clobbering time! I mean, court is now in session. Mr. Look at me, please take the stand. Well, well, how do you do, Sir Lawyer? I never would have thought to see you acting so recklessly. I couldn't let them hand down your verdict just yet. What happened to the lady with the big boobs? Did she die? Yeah, she she was murdered in the very first game. It was the second trial. Let's see, I couldn't let them hand down your verdict just yet. Anytime we see her being the attorney in the games afterwards, it's a flashback. Let's see, not when it would have given you your perfect alibi. An alibi by the name of Mask to Mask. I'm sorry. I'm afraid even the great Luke Atney has no idea what you mean. Of course, I have been in the next courtroom ever since 10 o'clock this morning. Was that his woman? No. It was Phoenix's boss. And it kind of sounded like they were gonna start a relationship or something. I don't know. At the end of the first trial in the first game, she mentioned something like, "Hey, let's go out for dinner" or something, you know. But I mean, that's as close, but pretty sure that's not really what was happening though. We'll find out. I think later in this game. I'm afraid there's no way I can know what's been going on in here. You've been in the defendant's seat all day long, correct? Being tried as Mask to Mask. Indeed, it's truly child's play to fool the ignorant masses. Not only did the poor fools ask me to protect their valuables, they even gave me a generous reward upon returning their property to them, their own property to them. Take this red diamond ring that sparkles upon my divine finger, for example. So you continue to insist that you are, in fact, Mask to Mask? Of course. Very well then, Luke Atney. Let us begin with this simple question. On October 12th at 1 a.m., Kane Bullard was murdered! Where were you at that time? One without knowledge lacks even knowledge that he should be ashamed of himself. What? But don't worry, I will not hold it against you, Sir Judge. His 50-cent mood ring from one of those 25-cent machines. I used to love those rings. I wish I had one again. I know they weren't really... I guess they kind of were mood rings, depending on your body temperature. I don't know. But I used to love those. Thanks. I used to have a necklace. The necklaces weren't really that good. The rings were really what you needed because it touched your skin. Alright, Mr. Atney. The night of the murder. Speak! We're listening! As you wish, Sir Prosecutor. Witness's testimony. The alibi. I was stealing the urn as Mask to Mask, just as I announced I would. You always wanted to waste your money on those stress machines at Ryan's when you were little. Ryan's, man, that's a place I haven't heard of in a long time. We ate at Ryan's when we lived in Conroe, I think. I've never seen a Ryan's outside of Conroe. Let's see. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. The time at which the camera captured Mask to Mask was the same time as the murder. It seems the main point of discussion will be this photo of the crime scene. Everything else up until now was all part of his plan. There has to be a secret to this picture as well. Even the great Mask to Mask cannot be in two places at once. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I have a verdict to receive. Unfortunately, Mr. Atme, we still have to do your cross-examination. A fool is too foolish to know when he is a fool. I think he's trying to say that you're full of it, Nick. The only thing that's full of it is his alibi. The alibi. So, this photograph is the proof, correct? Indeed it is! And the man in the photo is certainly wearing a mask. That is why I'm called Mask to Mask. But conveniently, that also means that there's no way to tell who this really is. What do you mean?
Objection!
Ha! Are you saying that this is not, in fact, Luke Atme? What could, that it could be an accomplice dressed up as Mask to Mask to create an alibi? Oh, what an interesting idea. Are you saying that I, Lone Wolf Luke, had an accomplice? I don't think he had an accomplice. Closed about a year ago. The guy who owned the place owed the IRS like $4 million? Instead of paying his bill, he closed the company, putting more than 18,000 employees out of work. Holy cow! That's crazy. If Luke Atme was at KB Security during the murder, then the Mask to Mask in this picture has to be a fake. Then there really was an accomplice. But right now I have no idea who it was. I don't have any idea right now either. Baseless objections are just what that guy wants. There's got to be another way, and I'm going to find it! I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. I believe Adrian Andrews hired you at one point. That's right. That was over 20 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. You sent the calling card to Lordly Taylor 10 days before the heist. That would mean you sent out the card after you began your security watch, right? Indeed. There was no reason why I couldn't do both jobs at once. It was the perfect opportunity to steal my latest target. I see. You truly are evil, aren't you? What? Yes, evil is what I am. Hey, Nick. Isn't there something odd about this? Detective Atme was always proud of his ace detective skills, right? But if the urn was stolen from Lordly Taylor while he was the only one watching it, he'd have no way to maintain his perfect ace detective persona. You know, that's true. It is kind of odd. I used to eat at Ryan's about once a week before I left the States. Whenever we lived in Conroe, we ate there. I want to say we ate there every weekend. I really don't remember. I was 8 years old. I was pretty young. And we didn't live there for very long. I think we lived there for about a year. Maybe even less than a year. Nah, about a year. I don't know. But it was like after we discovered it, so it was, I don't know, maybe a couple months before we moved that we would eat there. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be a witness. Let me look at it. It's a publicity photo. Don't present it, I just want to look. I don't know, it looks like the square is there. It has to be because that's when she fell over. So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here, is that correct? Indeed it is! That is it! The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime. When you think about it, it's really odd. You say that almost as if you had this picture taken on purpose.
Objection!
Ooh, no, don't go to Golden Corral. I always get sick when I go to Golden Corral, but it's whatever. If you want to go, you go, but I just, ugh. I'm not saying the food's bad, the food's good, but I always get sick. So I just don't go. He was simply caught by the very camera that he had set up. We all have days like that. Indeed, it turned out that there was no such thing as the perfect crime after all. Life is truly an ironic thing, a sad, blue melody. It looks like I'd better gather more information for now. If he's truly the killer, there's got to be something phony in that photo. The time at which the camera captured was the same as the murder. About the camera that took this photograph. Oh, come now. It's all too clear what you're thinking. Huh? You think I altered the timestamp on the photograph, don't you? I'm afraid that's impossible. The camera was set up by Lordly Taylor, and on top of that, it was Lordly Taylor's staff that printed that picture's data. Unfortunately for the defense, there's no way that picture could have been altered. I see. It looks like I'd better find something else that could be suspicious. So this alibi is false? It has to be, or he couldn't have killed Mr. Bullard at KB Security. But I'm not really spotting anything unusual. There are two possibilities. Either the mask-to-mask in the photo is a fake, or the photo itself is. I was stealing the urn as to say now. American overindulgence. She'd never been before. Yes. I can see where she's coming from. I don't really like buffets in general. Just, I get sick. I don't like anywhere that anybody could have access to my food. Ugh. Let's see. So, let me think. I think the point they're trying to make with the photo is that Mystic Amy's statue is not there when it should have been. I think. Alright, let me get to that point and try it out. Okay, I didn't mean to go that far. Alright, let's save it. He's calling the mask, but he refers to mask in the third person. But he doesn't refer to at me in the third person. Shouldn't he be consistent with how he refers to himself, whether it's in the first or the third person? I don't know, I guess that's true. I've never really thought of it that way. And hello, the Kyle David, how are you doing? That's a pretty Good observation. I never even would have thought about it. But to be honest, I'm usually putting more effort in reading it than actually understanding what I'm reading. Sometimes I have to read things a lot of times before I understand what I'm reading. I have very bad reading comprehension. Or else he's a Actually, that's what crossed my mind while I was reading Kyle David's message that he's a sociopath. But I don't know. Alright, I saved it, right? I'm gonna do it again because I'm paranoid. Okay, no, that's not what it was. Was it F6? Ugh. Contradiction. The time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same as time as the murder. Maybe I'd show it here. It's always picky about when you show things. So he's either lying about his name being at me or lying about being Master Mask. Well, we shall find out! Okay. Sorry about doing the reloading, but as you can see, I've already screwed up my penalties. I don't want to screw it up even more. Let's look at it for a second. I haven't a clue. Let's see, let's go back. Let's read through the testimony real quick. He was still in the urn, just as you announced it would. I had more than enough time to prepare. The photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. The time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same time as the murder. Doesn't it sound suspicious that it was at the exact same time? Take good care of this speckled urn, won't you? Wait, how did he know it was I don't think we need this yet, but speckled urn. Yeah, I don't think we need that yet. Enough ones from the night of the crime. He's actually Tuxedo Mask! Oh, come on. Tuxedo Mask is more handsome than this guy. Okay. This is what the paint looked like when she dropped it. I don't think that's what it looks like in the picture, is it? Oh shit! No! I meant to check. Ugh. See, I don't see that shape here. I kind of do, but it doesn't look anything like this one. Let me see if that's it. No. Let's try showing it here. Mamoru Chiba. I have no idea what I'm supposed to show him. What about the box? There's no paint on the box in the picture. You're so confused. I'm confused too. We had more than enough time to prepare. It was an easy job. Maybe you were supposed to accept one of those options that you declined. Did I decline something? Okay. Well, I think that was before this testimony started, but let's look. We'll do this again. Whoops! Photograph is correct. Indeed it is. Song called Mask to Mask. Okay, that also means there's no way to tell who it really is.
Objection.
Oh, right here. It's because we don't have an account. I'm pretty sure that it'll ask me, I think, I'm just assuming. Oh, whoops. Whew. I'm glad there was an error loading state because that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to save to state 7. I think if we try to name an accomplice, it's going to ask me who we think is an accomplice, and there's nobody that we can for real tell. If Look At Me was at the KB security during the murder, but you could be right. We'll go ahead and try it. Then the mask to mask in this picture has to be a fake. Maybe you were okay. Exactly. You had an accomplice. Now remember, you've said that, Mr. Trite, because there's no going back. If you're making baseless claims, I'll treat you to a penalty myself. That penalty is probably boiling hot too. It's not that bad. So who is it, Mr. Trite? Who is the accomplice? Maybe Adrian Andrews. We're gonna call her up again, like last time.
Take that.
It was this person. Ha! That's quite the prank you're trying to pull. Do you have any evidence that this is in fact the accomplice? Well, the aura that this person has around them is. If you're going to judge someone by their aura, you'd be right up there as the #1 suspect, Mr. Wright. The deed? I don't think so. Excuse me. What? I jumped the gun on that one. Yeah. Was Phoenix's own picture in the list? Yeah. Because it's in the profiles. We could accuse ourselves of being the accomplice. I don't think the dialogue is any different if you choose it. I know you had an accomplice because it was me! I did it! It's on Steam and costs less than $1. It only takes about 10 minutes to finish. There's about a dozen endings. It's about murdering your sister and getting away with it. Oh, weird. No, I don't. I'm pretty sure I haven't played it. I don't think I've even heard of it either. I haven't a clue. Is this another one where I've got to just press again, even after I did this? I mean, this evidence here? Indeed it is. That is it. The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime. Surely even you understand by now. Wardley Taylor provided that camera. There's no way I could have tampered with it. That means I cannot have killed Kane Bullard. Unless I had an accomplice. Come on, think long and hard about that night. The basement was- This was it! Why? Why? Why would I think to just press again? This is the second time I've pressed him. The basement warehouse and this picture that supposedly captured it. Accused at me of being this accomplice? It's gotta be here. Isn't there something funny about this picture? Yes, there is something funny about this picture. Ugh! I've been trying to show the picture, like, as, oh my god. This game is so annoying sometimes. Ugh! Yes, there's something funny. Are you implying that this picture is a fake? You bet I am. There's definitely something strange about this picture. We took a look around the basement warehouse that night, before the theft took place. See, since he's referring to himself in different persons, maybe there's two admins. Oh my god! He's got a twin! And there's something in this photo that doesn't match my memory of that night. Very well then. Let's hear what you have to say. What about this photograph do you find funny? I guess this here? The funny part is right here! I guess that this one could be the real Atme and there are definitely two. Why, this is a blood stain! What? Blood! Now this case is getting interesting. What? He's got the bloodlust. Not exactly. The stain is actually pink paint. Oh, just paint. And peach colored at that. From blood to peaches, the judge sure loves going on his wild tangents. The problem with this photograph is not the paint. The problem is, when you consider the layout of the basement warehouse, it turns out that something that would be there is nowhere to be seen. Erk. Well, Mr. Wright, what is supposed to be in this picture instead of the paint stains? Amy Faye! The love juice? Oh my god. Someone went to Beck's in the basement. Why does the clock say... If it's using military time, why would it say AM? And if it used AM PM, then it shouldn't it be 12:50? I don't know. I didn't make the game. There's a lot of problems with the game. And we don't really use military time over here, so I didn't even know they don't have AM or PM. Supervisor of the treasure exhibit stated the following. Well, there's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime, around noon, that golden statue just happened to arrive from the mountain training hall. I realized that the statue would be the perfect size for covering up the paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it. I myself was there that night, the night the theft took place, and saw the statue in that spot. If this picture was truly taken on that night, then that statue should have been there. Objection! But when I went there the day after the theft, that statue of the old bag was sitting in the corner. Perhaps it was somehow pushed there accidentally. Your Honor, the statue is slightly larger than yourself and quite heavy. If you would take more than an accident, it would take more than an accidental push to move it in that distance. Move it that distance. Ha! In that case, can you prove it? Can you give us the rhyme and reason as to why that statue was moved that night? Can you do it, Nick? Never mind who moved it. The real question is, why did they move it? Well, Mr. Wright, I hope you're prepared with your answer. Now then, who was the one that moved the golden statue on the night of the crime? It was me! I did! Now we've got to do that every time I have to show somebody. I have to show a profile. It was... Oops. It was Pearls! An ace detective. The one who moved the statue is none other than Luke at me. Alright, Ren, Puma, I'll find a place to stop and I'll be done. Come now, Sir Lawyer. There you go again on one of your strange delusions. Mr. Wright, what basis do you have for your strange delusions? It's very simple. The witness was the only one in the basement warehouse that night. That is indeed very simple. However, why would I want to move a heavy golden statue? Because they put the costume on the statue to make it look like the crime was taking place, and then put it in the wrong spot when they moved it back. The reason for moving the golden statue. Here's where the battle really begins. Well, Mr. Wright, what reason did the witness have to move the statue? The reason can be found here in this photograph. Look at me. You pretended to be mask to mask to create an alibi by showing you were at Lordly Taylor that night. But this photograph contains a single flaw. If the statue had been there, your lie would be exposed like cheap film at a drugstore. That is why you moved the statue. A single fatal flaw? Interesting theory. Please enlighten us. Just where in this picture does this lie exist? Well, exactly where I pointed before. Alright, that's it, you guys. We'll find out tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. I should have saved it. The lie in this photo is somewhere around here. Jumping to conclusions again? I think you need to take a gander at your... Damn it. As the Yiddish proverb goes, a half-truth is a whole lie. Keep lying like this, and you'll be the one on trial. Oh man, oh crap. Well, I'm glad we didn't, like, completely lose it. There was some reason the culprit didn't want the statue in the picture. At least that's what I thought. I'll ask you again, Mr. Trite. Oh, I guess the timestamp is what's the lie. We're gonna save it this time. I think it's the timestamp. Naturally, the lie in this photo is the timestamp. What do you mean? I'll tell you exactly what I mean. On the night in question, Luke at me went to KB Security and murdered Kane Bullard. Therefore, it's obvious it would have been impossible for him to have been at Lordly Taylor at this time. But what does that have to do with the statue being moved? Remember, if you will, Your Honor, when was this statue placed beside the warehouse door? Well, the statue was taken down to the warehouse on the day of the crime, and it was placed there in order to cover up the paint. Exactly. Luke at me had already decided on the time when he was going to kill the victim. And so, in order to create an alibi for that time, he took this picture days before the murder took place. What the? Of course, the statue hadn't yet been brought down to the basement warehouse. They used the word yet twice. So, on the day of the crime, Mr. Atme must have been quite nervous. As nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory, so to speak. Why? Because something that wasn't supposed to be there had been brought down and placed where it wasn't supposed to be. And that is why Luke at me had to move the statue on the night of the murder. He did it to make the room match with the way it had been in his photo. Gwa! Order! Order! Mr. Atme, is this true? One moment, Your Honor. Have you forgotten this? What's that? It's data for the basement warehouse computer. According to this, the camera did indeed go off on the night of the crime. It's true that the camera had been set up by the Lordly Taylor's staff. However, the program used to manage that data was yours. That alone would have allowed you to tamper with the data. Order! Order! Mr. Goto, what is the meaning of this? Goto, I warned you about making me wait. Now put that coffee down! My 11th cup. I've promised to drink no more than 17 during a trial. Which means I'm still good to the last drop. However, the defense has a very good point. A good point? So what? We are all but travelers on a road of infinite points? I think you've got your points mixed up with your other points. So you say this photograph was taken ahead of time, and that the statue was moved in order to make it match. That's a very interesting idea. However, there's one point that can't be denied. Which is... that it's only a possibility. Men that are trapped by the chains of maybe can never reach their dreams. That's very true. No way! Don't fall for that, Your Honor. Hey, Mr. Damask. Yes? Hello, Legendary Frank. How are you doing? I'm really sorry, but I'm about to end. If there's no funny business in your actions as Mask to Mask, there should be no problem with you telling us your strategy, so let's hear it. Yes, please provide this court with your testimony about your plan to steal the sacred urn. Alright, this is gonna be where we end. I'm really sorry, Legendary Frank. But I'll be back tomorrow. I think? Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. You love Phoenix Wright. I'm so sorry. I always feel bad when somebody comes in right as I'm ending. But we'll be back tomorrow with more Phoenix Wright. And I guess whatever it is my son wants to play. But anyways, I hope you guys have a good evening, and I will see you guys next time. So take care, and bye-bye.